Good evening. I'd like to call a meeting to order, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. I'll have the clerk please call the roll.
Supervisor Fountain.
Here.
Treasurer Horning.
Here.
Clerk Chopew. Here. Trustee Collier. Absent. Trustee Germain.
Here.
Trustee Harper.
Here.
Trustee Petrucci.
Here.
Thank you. Item number 4 is approval of our meeting agenda.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Petrucci, second by Horning.
I'd like to make an amendment, change to the agenda, please. I'd like to move item 7A to 7B and make item 7A a short time for the people from the Teen Center to give a short presentation.
Still approve that amendment?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Any other discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Call of the public this evening. Mr. Domas?
Yes, sir.
Do we have a microphone, James, available?
Yeah, at the table.
Oh, at the table.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening, and thank you for asking us to be here this evening. I brought two people from county government with me this evening. You've already met Betsy Hundley, and Ken Hinton. I think some of you have met him as well. Ken is our new administrator, and Betsy, of course, is our new county clerk. So I'll give each of them a couple of minutes here.
I will introduce myself to the audience. I'm Elizabeth Hundley, and January 1st I started as the Livingston County Clerk, and it's a pleasure to be here this evening. Margaret retired after 19 years as the clerk in Livingston County, and my name was provided as a person who's qualified for the position, and I have to say it's a very interesting fit for me. I bring an accounting background into the position along with a law degree. I'm a graduate of Cooley Law School, and along with that I have a little bit of exposure to campaign finance through working as treasurer for various candidates who have run at all levels. And I've also taught the legal portion of CPL classes for various NRA instructors. So it's actually a very interesting fit for me. I would like to compliment Larry on the great job that he did with the election for the presidential primary.
Thank you.
Board of Canvassers are very pleased with Larry's performance. You guys should be very proud of the job he's doing for you. Thank you, Larry. And
Thank you.
I look forward to working with everyone.
Great.
Thank you.
Ken Hinton.
I'm Ken Hinton. I'm the county administrator. I've been in that role since June 1st of last year, so we're nearing the end of my first year. I've had an opportunity to meet some of you along the way. It's been a great fit for me. I really enjoy living in this county, working here. I'm originally from Macomb County, but the last 15 years I lived in Grand Traverse County, and 5 years before I took the position here, I was the administrator for Wexford County. The county seat is Cadillac for Wexford County. I started my career as a CPA, worked in the business world for a long time, and then moved to government. Started with a stint on the school board up there for a term, and ended up in the county administrator position. And then this position opened up down here, which was wonderful for my wife and I. We have 4 kids and 4 grandkids, and they all live in the Sterling Heights and Troy area. So it was good to get back, and we see them a lot more often now. There's a lot of similarities between where I was and what we have here. I had a jail project that they had needed desperately for 20 years up there that I got kicked off, and I came here just as we were wrapping up the jail project, so that was there. But elements of county government are the same, and working with the local units is always a pleasure. I think we had 21 local units of government there versus the 20 here. So I enjoy getting out, meeting with people, And I'm always available if any of you have questions you want to call me. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Some of the finest people on earth were born in Cadillac, Michigan, by the way.
Can you guess?
I'm not going to guess who that may be, but welcome aboard. Congratulations on also your one-year anniversary as well.
Thank you.
And he's done an outstanding job for us. We're really very pleased. He's moved into that position seamlessly and done a great job for us. We're very happy, very proud of him. And I've known Betsy for quite some time. She comes highly recommended, and I've never seen her not do a good job at anything that she's tackled. I left some material in front of all of you. It's a couple of line drawings of the new jail, and then there's kind of like a color cartoon that just depicts the population of the jail as of the first part of this month. And I just thought I would bring that in and let that go towards the introduction of this invitation that the jail is 95% finished, but we're having tours through the jail now, and I would like to extend that invitation to this board. Wednesday afternoons are great times to do that, and the tour would last less than 2 hours, and so we'd love to have you. If I mentioned this to Bill, that contact with me will make sure that we're ready for you when you come there, and we look forward to having you there. You won't be disappointed, and we will not lock you in. We did a couple of commissioners that got rowdy when we did our tour there. So, if you have any questions at all, this would be the time.
What time on Wednesday?
I would think around 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay. All right. Just contact yourself.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Thank you for coming this evening.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for having us.
Anybody else to call to the public this evening? Being none, I'll have a motion to go to number 6 to approve our consent agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Trustee Harper, second by Trustee Germain. Any discussion on the consent agenda? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. And we changed our agenda. We're going to have some members or spokespeople from the Teen Center. If you'd like to come forward to this table and state your name for us, and welcome, and thanks for spending some time with us this evening.
Hi, I'm Susan Dwan.
Yeah, let's just get a couple more chairs, okay?
Bring another seat.
Grab from right there.
In fact, bring both of them over, two of them. We want you to be comfortable.
It's okay, we'll move the microphone.
Hero.
Okay.
Before you start, I would like
Okay.
one of the board members to just maybe give a brief overview of what HERO is, and just real briefly. I don't know, is there a spokesperson from...
Probably Joe.
The secretary would just
Well, we actually have our former president who's also here, Kay Fountain. But HERO stands for the Hartland Enrichment and Recreational Organization. HERO was established, I think we're in our almost 4th year. It was established back in 2012 with the mission of providing educational and recreational opportunities to youth and citizens in the Hartland area, which includes generally the boundaries of the Hartland community public school system as well. So it outreaches to a much broader audience than just the Hartland Township. One of the first projects that HERO undertook was the formation and establishment of the Hartland Teen Center, which has been in operation since June of 2012, or actually the fall of 2012. We did a lot of work getting ready for that, and a lot of countless hours with some of the other board members that are on our board here, such as Matt and Joe, Petrucci, and Kay. Our board is made up of currently 10 board members from various organizations in the community, as well as all-around folks who like to get involved with this nonprofit. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And with that, I don't know if anybody has any further questions, but we have a group here from the Teen Center who's going to give a presentation. So,
Thank you.
I'm Susan Dwan, and this is Brenda Watt, and we're both the directors at the Hartland Teen Center. At the Hartland Teen Center, we have teens that come to our Teen Center that go there after school. It's a safe, supervised place for them to go. And we're open from 2:30 in the afternoon to 6 o'clock every day. And Fridays, we're open from 1:30 to 6. We have 170 teens that are members at our Teen Center. And every day we have between 25 and 40 teens attend. I'd like to introduce to you a few of our teens that come to our Teen Center, and they want to tell you a little bit more about our Teen Center. Logan, Lexi, and Sierra.
Hi, I am Alexis Barkley. I'm the one who made the presentation today. I am a YouTuber / editor, and I like to go to the Teen Center just to hang out with my friends and do fun stuff and eat food.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Logan Herman. I am head leader at the Teen Center and new to the HMS. And I like to go to the Teen Center, hang out with friends, and be myself. And then I like the support from Miss Dewan and Miss Watt. And it's a good place to go get away from chaos at the house.
Thank you.
I'm Sierra Brown. I am a 10th grader at Hartland High School. I like going to the Teen Center to be with friends, and you can tell both of these ladies anything to get away from, outside life. I would like to present this presentation to you. The Teen Center got a new look over the summer from the help of 242 Church and Target. We painted this room along with 3 other rooms of the Teen Center. The kids use this room every day. The teens use the kitchen to make food, and lots of teens hang out in here. The Teen Center does many fundraisers, like car washes in the spring. We did the Hartland Family Winterfest this year. We raised $918 for the Teen Center, selling food, drinks to the community. A few girls went to Kroger and sang songs for the Salvation Army. They would love to do it again when it's warmer. The Great Foodini comes to the Teen Center. I think she's came 3 times. She teaches the kids how to make quick and easy meals that they can make at home. The Connection came and talked to the Teen Center last week about stress and how to deal with it. La Casa in March brought awareness to teen sexual assault. They gave a very powerful presentation on how it happens and what to do if you or a friend should experience it. Leadership training is every 3rd Thursday. A group of teens sits down to talk about leadership goals at the Teen Center. We have many military speakers, veterans from World War I and the Vietnam War, that come and inspire the teens. Our teens are not afraid to ask for help in school or with everyday life. We celebrate many holidays such as Thanksgiving, Christmas, St. Patrick's Day, Memorial Day. And here are some pictures from our parties. Superhero Day is a day that the high school does for Spirit Week, and the middle schoolers also participate in them at the Teen Center. We have some videos of some talented teens that come.
And I don't know how good the audio will be. We'll do our best with that.
These are some testimonials from kids that come to the Teen Center.
What do I like about the Teen Center? It's a really great place to hang out with your friends. If you like homework, you can do it there. There's food, which is always a plus.
And plus, she's a really good singer, like amazing.
There's a piano. I love the piano. It's like my favorite place to go.
You come to the Teen Center?
To get away from home, really, and all my friends come here.
What do you like about the Teen Center?
I like when the staff members helped you with any problems that you're having at home, school, or anything. Someone you can really talk to.
Oops, I pressed the wrong button. We have some upcoming events. We're doing face painting at Creekside in April, the Memorial Day Parade, and face painting on 4th of July. And we would like to thank you for letting us come talk to you about the Teen Center.
And we'd also like to thank you for letting us use the building for the Teen Center. It's a great place to come.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Why don't you tell everybody where it's located? Because, believe it or not, there probably are some people that don't know where the Teen Center is.
The Teen Center is next door to the fire department on Hartland Road, right across from the middle school and the high school.
I think I would like to say also there's many of the things that are at the Teen Center, I should have made a point to say this earlier, were either contributed directly or through the donations of several of our businesses in Hartland and around Hartland area, citizens and interested folks. We have a tree that is on the wall at the Teen Center, and each leaf reflects many of the donations over the last several years. And I apologize, I should have mentioned that earlier, Bill, but with the help of the township, but also with the help of several citizens and businesses, I think this Teen Center wouldn't be able to have gotten off the ground. And I think we've got a good start and going 4 years running, and we're doing pretty well. So I just want to let folks know it's a good thing in our community. It's one of the things that makes a good place to live here in Hartland. So.
And on behalf of the board, thanks for the great leadership with the kids. You're doing a wonderful job. And thank you for you guys for making it yours and coming up with all these events and inviting others to enjoy it as well. So congratulations.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to our applicant 7B, which is site plan number 530-F, Walnut Ridge Estates. This is a final site plan review for a plan development amendment. This is a site plan that includes homes behind on the north side of the Metro Church. Good evening. Welcome. Joe, this has been through the Planning Commission.
That is correct. On February 25th, the Planning Commission recommended final approval of the amendment to the plan development for application number 530F. This is a final site plan for 64 single-family site condominium unit on the remaining 42 acres located to the north of what used to be formerly known as the River Church, was now known as the Venture Church. The applicant has got the diagram up right now, what's being proposed. It was unanimously approved on the 25th of February. Basically, the subject property is, as I mentioned, consists of the entire site is 76.2 acres, with the church portion including building, parking lot, and detention pond consisting of approximately 34 of those 76 acres. This is a property was zoned plan development and designated as medium suburban density residential. The applicant, I believe, has met all the requirements under the as recommended by the Planning Commission, and we are recommending approval today.
Okay. We do have our planner with us this evening. Troy Langer is here as well. And I'd like to open up to the board if they have any questions. First of all, if you want to introduce yourselves as well. I apologize for that.
Sure. I'm Brent Levanway with Boss Engineering, and to my right is the developer of the residential project, Jack Lansing of Capital Construction Group. And we're now in the third step of our three-step plan development process, and we've appreciated the cooperation the township has provided and staff, and we're looking forward to the project.
Okay. Board members have any questions?
I'll move to approve PED site plan number 530F, Walnut Ridge Estates, final site plan for plan development amendment with the conditions outlined by the staff report and Planning Commission on February 25th, 2016.
Support.
Motion by Trustee Kalani, second by Trustee Harper. Any discussion?
I just have one quick question. When the project started, there was another developer who was talking about a project near there, and I guess they wanted a stub or something put in there. Has that been provided in that?
It has, yes. In fact, right here in this location between these two lots, that is where that access.
So he could connect into that then? Yeah, okay. I just was wondering if that ever happened.
Yep.
I know you were supposed to meet or something. I don't know if that ever happened.
Got it squared away.
If there are no other questions, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Congratulations and welcome to Hartland.
Thank you.
Item number 8A is manager employment agreement. That was his amendment from our last budget process meetings, adjusting the manager's retirement to match the rest of staff. I believe that's what that amendment, James, is that what that amendment was for?
Yes.
I move to approve the resolution amending the manager's employment agreement.
Support.
Motion by Treasurer Horning, second by Trustee Harper. Any discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Board and manager reports. And we start with our second meeting in March. We start with Trustee Petrucci.
I don't have any report tonight.
Clerk Shofu.
The election went fairly smooth. We had a few equipment issues, but again, they were all handled very well. I'd like to thank my chair people, Judy Wilson, Sue Case, Cheryl Dunlap, Victoria Thompson, and Lisa Dunville for the excellent job that they did. We had a turnout of just over 39%, which was just a little bit under what the countywide 40% was. So the turnout was twice what it would normally for these types of elections. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. What percentage of the voters were absentee versus walk-ins?
I think we had probably 25-30% absentee.
Thank you. Treasurer Horning?
Same thing with the Treasurer's Department. We had very smooth closing and settlement with the county, and they returned back the delinquencies to us to collect on small businesses and mobile home building on leased lands, and it's one of the lowest amounts coming back to us to collect this year since I've been here. So it was a really great tax season.
Thank you. Trustee Kalani?
The HERO board met last night for a special meeting, and part of that was to discuss visioning and some strategic discussion on some of the comments I brought up at our one of our meetings last month concerning the role between the township and HERO. And I think what we resolved to do is really, we didn't have a full board last night due to some folks who were ill. In fact, Mike Schmidt was sick all weekend, so with that, I think there's a bad bug going around. But anyway, our plan is to really circulate a white paper or something to that effect. I hate to call it a strategic plan or a business plan, but more of a white paper to kind of present to this board for consideration on some of the things that HERO may be considering to do on an incremental basis to help assist with some of the things going on in the township that also correspond to our mission. So, Joe, do you want to have anything to add?
Other than we're going to put together a plan, some suggestions, and come back to the board for discussion with them and see what the board wants us to do, how they want us to move forward, if they want us to move forward on any of our suggestions, or well, maybe the board has some other input that would be helpful, but we're going to come back with something to share with you, and hopefully we can get the HERO board to do other things besides the teen center.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? Joe, anything else? You're good? Okay.
I'm good. Sorry.
Trustee Germain?
Nothing.
Trustee Harper?
No report.
Just briefly, for those that may be watching here, our budget meeting, which we intended to have this evening, has been postponed until tomorrow night. We just had to have it published in the paper correctly, and there was some font issues, and we want to make sure that was corrected. So our meeting is here tomorrow night at 6 o'clock here at the Township Hall. I guess that would be March 16th. Mm-hmm. And Todd Cheney threw out an email to me, as probably everybody knows they were state champions. He goes, "How about a sign?" I thought that was kind of cute, but then I started thinking about you do go to a lot of communities where somebody has done something significant, and then there's like state champs, or they were this or that. So we don't need to get into a discussion tonight, but that was something that, again, just showcases the talent of and the effort that it takes to do not only sports, but different things that they've been successful. So,
well, I was just curious, is that a MDOT thing where they have those signs that show?
Well, I mean, there's already two locations for those. One is going to the village, and then one down on Old 23 south of 59. I'm assuming that we're just talking to adding to that.
Well, I was actually, because the communities I've been to, they will have a sign like going into a village or where the school district is, and they're like green, and it'll say 2016 state champion wrestling.
That's what we have those. We have two of them.
Oh, we have them already.
It would be a matter of adding to them. There's one in the village going north on Avon right before you get to Maple, and if you go south on Old 23 from 59, there's a sign there.
Okay, well then we have them already, and
I don't know I think the schools have done those or have connected with the road commission to make those happen.
I guess it's one of those signs that you see and don't see.
You don't even pay attention anymore. It's there.
So I will forward that along to him and see if there's an opportunity for them. Okay.
Well, and it does bring up that issue that a community sign would be something we might want to consider that talks about some of the things going on in our community. I don't know.
That's for another night.
For another night.
But again, it's I just wanted to
They
pass
can be
that along.
distracting, but they're also helpful, so.
Okay, Manager Wickman.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Just wanted to make a couple highlights to the operational report, because some things have happened since we last talked about them at the board meeting, and just want to acknowledge those things and not miss the opportunity while we're here together. On the pavilion structures, obviously there's been some, we tabled the Hero Pavilion at a couple meetings ago, and there's been some other conversations going on with that and about possibly moving that over here and combining it with the Settlers Park structure. If that's the route we're going to go, and it looks like there's good reason to do that, I'm going to say that's going to take this year. We're not going to be able to put that in before the end of this construction season. There's a lot of decision makings and iterations that will have to come back to this board through that process. So I just want to fully acknowledge that will probably delay that project until next year.
I don't buy that. I'm sorry.
Well, we certainly move as fast as the board can act on these things. To date on this issue, we've not been able to make those decisions in a very timely fashion. So if that were to change, if the board can work through the site plan and the specifications and those other decisions, then we'll do it. I just don't have any reason to think that it's going to be any different than the pace at which we've been recently making those decisions. So if the board wants to
I just don't know why every time we delay something or we change something, it takes months and months and months to go through that. If this board decides, and it would be a board decision, that we want to get this thing going, I don't understand why we couldn't get this thing started at least in the fall. And it's not a big project once it's all approved. I mean, we were willing to do it, get it done by June in February. I don't know why we couldn't get something done in the fall by, if we start on it now, if the board decides to make this a priority. If we don't, it's going to drag out like it has in previous years, and it takes 2-3 years for us to do anything. So I just get a little frustrated with that, and I know other people on the board are a little frustrated with why it takes so long. So we either got to make it a priority and get it done, or let it drag out like everything else has. Now, not to say that we don't want to do it right. I understand we do want to do it right. We want to do it properly and go through the channels, but I just don't see why we need to drag it out a whole another year.
Did you have a comment?
I was just going to weigh in. I guess I'm foreshadowing the next question, perhaps maybe why it takes so long. Just throwing that out there.
Well, not necessarily that, but James and we spoke the other day about having an active issues list brought back before the board so we can reprioritize again. This floats to the top. I don't disagree with what you're saying is it would have to take a year. If we continue to go forward with it, keep the conversations going, it could start this year. I don't think James was saying that it couldn't, but at the pace that we've gone on for the last couple months, perhaps.
We stand ready to carry out the project as soon as you've made a decision on what that project is. Knowing what I know and we know about this project and the different decision points that have to be made, I just don't. I don't have any reason to think it's going to go any faster than it already has. If the board is able to make decisions quicker, there are things that have to happen on our end with the engineers and walking it through the planning commission, site plan process, and all that. These things take time. We can't. If you say today this is what we want to build, there's a timeline to that, and we're already entering into the season when we would want to have been going out to contractors for it. So this can certainly be a priority of the board, and we could very possibly start it in the fall. I'm just acknowledging that if we're if the scope of the project is changing and all those decisions are going to have to go through the board again, that's going to elongate the process.
I got a question. On all the projects, do we have some sort of Gantt chart or something like that? Starts off with the end date and then all the steps in between so that we have a better, I think part of what Joe was concerned about is when you say it might be another year is it's hard to know why when you make a generalized statement from a board perspective. I think it would be helpful to have at least something that sets forth the steps, because I'm kind of like along the lines of what Joe was saying. I have no idea of all the steps that you think or need to have, or if we can look at a chart and say, well, we can speed up this. If the decision-making issues, need to be made within a certain period of time, I'm willing to put the extra effort in to make those decisions happen. But I don't feel like I have those kinds of things in front of me to.
Yeah, we haven't historically done that. Based on a lot of the project discussions over the last year, we're actually having that conversation internally about creating that precise tool to give you a better idea of at what points what decisions have to be made in order to back into a completion date. And we hope to have a tool for you in that regard.
Yeah, and I will tell you, I have several projects I work on, and one I'm working on with a public works project in particular, where we meet every week, a progress report, and there's dates that we know because there's legal things that have to take place by certain dates, publication of notices on people, and et cetera, and that could really slow up the ability to properly assess property at the right time and have days of review and those kinds of things. And I just think that I think for every project that we're working on, there should be some sort of chart that we can ask where we can point to and go, okay, well, you had a time frame of such and such within April 3rd. Where are you at in the steps? Oh, we've passed that. We've actually can move dates up because of the fact that we exceeded expectations. Or B, we got to push dates back because of other problems. And there may be some things that, as Bill's indicated, we might want to take a look at and say, well, you know what? Building that farmers market program is going to be a priority versus doing a sidewalk. I'm just throwing that out. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just pointing out that from a policy standpoint, we may want to have a little more.
Well, you mentioned farmers market, but I just want to point out that it's turning into more of a community pavilion where the farmers could use it as a farmers market.
Thanks.
So,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, because I just don't want people thinking we're trying to push through a farmers market. We're not. This would be a really nice addition to the park, and it would be community-wide use. So it's just something that I just like to get it done in my lifetime. Is all I'm asking.
Kathy, speaking of the farmers market, you have secured a location for it this year?
Yes, the market will be at Ore Creek Middle School for the year.
Okay, and it could be there
forever.
Indefinitely right now?
Forever.
They don't have it? Okay. So there's a place for it to land.
I know we're cutting into James's report.
It's your meeting.
I guess I echo the comments of Joe Petrucci too,
But not mine.
I'll get to yours in a minute. I think that what might be holding up this project from moving forward is having a champion. Someone who can act as the advocate for what needs to be done and work with the township and the engineers to make it happen. And I, for one, think I could help in that regard. I think that my question to you, James, is I know you're being as honest as you can in saying that based on history, this could turn into a long project. Are you basing your belief on the necessity of input from the board as majority cause for that delay? Or is it because of the already any obligations that the staff already has that would have to implement the work? Which is the greater of the two?
The greater of the two is the board decision-making process. Getting the scope and then getting into iterations and specifications of what you'd like to build. And as we get further into that, get more and more solidified estimates and get it down to a number that obviously that you're able to support. I mean, that's the way projects particularly recently have gone, and that back and forth I can see taking a long time. Now, we can get through that process, may very well be well within this year. Then we run into the construction season ending, or we're at such a time in the construction season where it's not very beneficial to try to go get contractor bids because it's going to cost us more because they already got plenty of work and they're fitting us in, and it may not be wise for us to wait. I just want to fully acknowledge that if we're switching gears here, I don't want there to be any misgiving. We get into it and we finally get to a point where the board all agrees on this is what we want to build, and it's suddenly too late to make it fully happen this year. Maybe we could start it or something like that. I just want to acknowledge time is of the essence. We're working on that tool. I agree that you and so I've seen that for myself, and we think there's a need for that tool to help you understand at what points decision need to be made so that we can commit to it, and we want it, and that's involve a conversation with you, probably at a retreat, for you to say at what points do you want to make sure your decision is in the process. So we're working on a start to that conversation, and there'll be further conversation with this board about that.
I guess one thing you just mentioned, which is the switching gears. Have we talked about switching gears from having discussion on this? You mean
not corporately? There's a discussion. We tabled it so that those champions could have an opportunity to sit down with Planning Commissioner Fox and have some other conversations. Now, what's being talked about is some sort of a combined facility, different than anything that we have scoped out before. And so, I don't want to say we're starting from scratch, but we've got it. We're
I think that we've had some discussions that's in fact what we reevaluated the location based on getting some site plan information that.
Yeah, but I don't know if this board is collectively talking about that.
I don't disagree with that, yeah. But to say that we've changed courses, I don't disagree that we've changed courses on the project that was before us before, but I don't think we've changed courses that this isn't something that we want to.
Right, we just wanted to get to the budget.
It's a new footprint of a building and a new elevation of a building, one that we haven't previously contemplated. So there's going to be.
Again, just on behalf of myself as a board member, it's okay for us to change direction when we flesh things out to make it better and understand that there's a lot more to it. And sometimes I feel like we get a tone that it's the board's fault. Well, that's why we're here too. Is we're here to listen to other people's input to bring something back that with our limited resources is more valuable for our community. And utilize, one building can actually have two, or like Joe was mentioning, it has 2 or 3 different elements to it. So sometimes it's okay if you take your time and work things out. I mean, I think that's the positive of this.
Better do it right the first time than, having to spend extra money.
Once.
Yeah.
I don't disagree that we can't find a better process to get through this. However, in this case, I think we're all making the right decision is to slow down for a minute and reevaluate all the different needs that are out there before we go forward.
And to discuss what Joe Petrucci says, we may need to reprioritize other projects in order to move along certain other projects. So I agree. We want to do this in your lifetime, Joe. So,
pardon me?
We want to do it in your lifetime.
That's our goal now. James, I think. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
Would this change of plans be something to bring to the Parks Site Plan Committee or whatever? They've changed their names sometimes. I don't know what to call it. But
we have.
Or do we have enough involvement from them already? You don't have to answer right now.
I don't know the answer to that.
Just throwing it
but
out.
I do. James did put a checklist of what we want to do. James, did you have I know that was, you had printed that out, not printed it, but offered that to everybody, the active issues list.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that
Let's
later.
go ahead and talk about that, and then maybe that'll fall into where we go from where we are today.
And I certainly don't want to have any misunderstanding or misimply that the outcome of this may very well be the best decision. There's no doubt about that. I just want to make sure there's a reasonable expectation of once that better decision is reached, the time it then takes to implement it is now extending out and may even take us into the next year. I just want reasonable expectations all around. Both sides, that if it takes us a little while longer to make a better decision, implementation of that therefore also takes longer, I guess is the long and short.
Are we talking on the pavilions, like basically all three pavilions that we had going, Heritage Park, Settlers Park, and the Farmers Market? Are we looking at them all again, or is Heritage Park something we could go forward with while we look at the new design for Settlers Park?
Well, I think we're going to get into capital improvement plan, and I think it was kind of mentioned that now with Mayberry coming in out there, we might want to hold off on that one because maybe they'll pay for it or at least run us the electric and water. So we need to get into capital improvement.
There's several PDs coming in down in that area, and with community benefit, we may be able to save quite a bit of money, taxpayer money. So it may be wise to put that on hold. But we have to have all these discussions, and we haven't had them. And we're going to wait another 2 weeks. So let's move forward with this somehow and put it on the agenda next week, or have some kind of our next meeting to have some kind of discussion on it, so we start moving forward with it. Or else it's going to be 3 months and we still haven't done anything. That's where I get frustrated.
You're talking about the new design.
We need to get the process started. So what would be the next step? What would be the next step? That's what I'm asking. Let's do the next step.
To give everybody the benefit.
Get it going.
We've had several special meetings on our budget the last month.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been our priority.
And I've always said there should be a special meeting just for the parks. Because it's not a 10-minute discussion, especially with this board. I mean, it's a discussion, and it's good that we do that. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's not a 10-minute discussion, and I think we need to have that special meeting, just nothing else, the parks. Get a direction, and let's start moving forward with some of this stuff.
Okay.
Next step on this facility here. Have we pinpointed that as far as what our next step would be on that?
For Sellers Park?
Yeah.
Well, Sellers and Heritage Park, we're working on the underground engineering for all the infrastructure, but now Heritage has somewhat been, I don't want to say halted, but because of the potential of cost sharing with one of the PDs, we have to look at both options now. Both options are on the table. So now we're trying to get the footprint and what sort of structure is required out there, similar to Settlers. What I would need to move forward is a very simple question. If we're going to do a combined pavilion, what site? Because if that takes more time, at least we can continue on with the other site. Does that make sense?
What do you mean combined pavilion? What are you talking about?
Well, the one that Joe...
This multi-use pavilion that's being proposed will take the place of your formerly proposed project at one of the two. So once that's...
Where would you envision that at? It's just because I think I already know where I would want it. But
you want it close to the road.
To the road.
You got
to never see it.
But you're talking about location or which park?
Which park?
Which part?
You mean for the...
Combined?
Settlers Park was the only
Settlers
one.
I'm fine with that. It was not confirmed yet.
So this is why we need to have you at a meeting. We need to all have a checklist of all the questions that we have. Get those
the checklist has been created.
Okay, so we can go through these things and we're all on the same page. We're not going to get through this tonight because we're not prepared, number one, and we don't have the list. But there are a lot of moving parts. There is a possibility that PD developer will have to us in roughly a month if they consider that a benefit, because their conceptual is, I think,
April 7th, 14th.
April 7th and 14th. So we'll have some type of an idea of where their mindset, I would think, during that process. because
They'll
they
come to
know
the board
they have-
after that.
They know they have to have a public benefit because it's part of the PD process. We just offered that out for them.
And I fully support that. I guess what I want to do is make sure we understand. I think we have all the pieces or people in this room tonight. Not necessarily this is the appropriate time, but to suggest maybe we need to champion or maybe a park site plan committee review. We still need to get the basic scope down, and that's what I need to do. Sit down with the board and discuss. Every directive given by the township board regarding the first project was met by the following board meeting. We collectively agreed it wasn't as desired in the final output, but I don't want you to think there's no work going on behind the scenes. We, pledged forward with that project as quickly and efficiently as we could. It's just the end result was not desirable.
Well, again, after we saw the end result, the board changed its mind. It wasn't anything that you did wrong. We stepped back and went, is this what we want? And I think the board as a whole said, let's reevaluate where we're at, and that's where we are today. So, James, this would be the longest report you've ever given. Go ahead, Joe. You had a
No,
question.
I think, and I want to reaffirm that this had nothing to do with, up to that point, what you were doing. This has everything to do with, after taking a step back and a breather, going, what are we doing here? What are we caught?
It didn't work. It didn't fit.
And it wasn't going to work. I mean, there are a number of reasons. It just didn't, after careful consideration. So don't take it as like you know what I mean?
Don't take it personally.
Bob, you've done everything that the board has asked.
The building
Yeah,
didn't
you've
fit
done
up
everything
there.
the board has asked of you. It had nothing to do with anything you did. So it's just, when you take a step back, it just, from the perspective of viewing that from the road, or being from either road, and US 23 or Hartland Road, it just
didn't fit.
It didn't fit there.
And I think the punch list we're working on, I think we can flip that around here very quickly. Maybe I'm over-promising by the next meeting, but I think
that's part of what we want to talk about. We want to make sure that a decision-making process on projects going forward includes the opportunity to step back, to see, get a better picture of what it looks like, what the cost is, and have that so that we're not getting too far ahead on other stuff if we decide to change our mind. So that kind of thing.
So on the active issues list, are you looking for input on number 2 and number 3?
That's later on the agenda, I believe, is it?
Work session topics. Yeah, that was going to be number B. So I'd like James to finish up his report.
I'd like to also.
So let's move forward, and we can get to our work session tonight.
Just a couple things also to acknowledge. I mean, we did have a good meeting with our conference call with SEMCOG about the TAP grant. As I've previewed to you, the flexibility to phase that is not there. We agreed that we can go ahead and withdraw our TAP application for this round, and there is no misgivings about that. They have it happens. They understand why it happens, and we'd had good conversation about what a future project looks like, a scaled down version of that. And right now is not the right time for that because we got other projects that are going on. So we'll want to reevaluate. We're not going to resubmit on that for this year. We'll look at that again once we get these other projects squared away that are in front of us. Joint Planning Commission meeting, they gave us 2 dates, April 21st and May 5th. Those are both Thursdays. I do have somewhat of a conflict on the 21st. That May 5th is better for me for what it's worth. I don't, if you
There's something on the 21st, too, that rings a bell, and I can't remember what it is.
You guys have a fire authority meeting?
No.
Is that the third?
That'd be the third Thursday.
That's fire authority.
May 5th is the first Thursday. Is that work for the board for a joint?
That works for me.
I'm going to look.
What time?
6:30.
6:30 work for everybody?
I think that.
We usually meet at 7. Did we say 6:30, or are we just doing it?
I don't know if I don't know if the planning commission has the
So
same.
6:30.
6:30.
think that's when I'm in Arizona for my son's college graduation.
Do we prefer the 21st, or do we want to get more dates?
21st.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Why don't we just look for a couple more dates? I think it's important that we're all there.
Okay. If we were to look at that 2 weeks, well, that'd be the third Thursday again if we were to look at the 19th day.
26th?
That's their normal meeting. Second and fourth Thursdays are their normal meeting. So we may be...
Joe, could you check, do you